following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. And boy, I got a lot of mail over the last few days. Yes, I did see about the koala bear that wandered into the hospital. And no, I'm no relation to that koala bear, although he looked very squeezably soft also. We've got a market that's up 10 points on the S&P. Cash volume has been interesting. It's been kind of on the edge of up and down, and right now 2.3 billion shares. So we're basically coming in with about the same volume we came in yesterday. So maybe that's a draw. Kind of hard to tell. Of course, we got numbers in the morning. I don't think that they're that important. I think everybody's looking at them and bypassing the big headline risk that is the election in the UK today. We also have, at any moment, a Greek fire. I don't think a lot of people know the history and know about Greek fire. But that was one of the first big weapons in war. You might Google that out. But basically, it was a giant big ball of goo that they'd light on fire and throw at people. So, yeah, it was the first weapon of mass destruction. A giant thing of goo. I don't know what it was. It was just like a big ball with flaming tar or something on it. But they called it Greek fire. But it didn't. I have a feeling it probably burned as many people on its side as it on the side that they were throwing it at. But kind of tough to tell. But some people in the den are saying it was Brill cream, but a little dab will do you. But they threw a lot of it on there. But that, and of course, there was always the issue of them having a giant mirror that could fry people. But that was pretty much put to rest by Mythbusters. Good episode, though. But I do digress. And we got a market out here. We got some decent volume. We got an up day out here. We got what a lot of people say are big numbers tomorrow. I don't think the big numbers are in the jobs report. I think we already know now with the ADP. I think what we are looking at now is the ability for the UK to have a referendum. That referendum, if one of the gentlemen win that's fighting for prime minister, would be to exit the EU. The UK, of course, has their own pound still. And a lot of people are really, especially in England, are not liking the EU business at all. And basically, they've got a lot of agreements back and forth. And those agreements came, actually, there was before the EU, there was like an economic union something or other. That goes back to like 1972. But as often as it is when you get these many different cultures together, it's like herding cats. And, of course, you always get a few shirkers that don't want to do much. And I think the UK is probably the ones that would come out best out of leaving or the disintegration of the EU. Basically, everybody else has been on the dole from Germany. Maybe Germany would do good. They just say a pox on all of you lazy jackasses over here in Europe that think that you are owed 25-hour work weeks and retirement at 40 and all the other stuff that basically the Western Democratic Socialism book shows over there. Very tough. I spent a lot of time in France. If you want to get into a hotel, no big deal. If you want to actually get anything done, it's like everything is a freaking act of Congress. All summer long, they were gone. Never could get a damn thing done. About May 15th, everybody was on vacation. They had 2 months of vacation. Nothing ever got done. Nothing was ever handed off to anybody else because, of course, they were on vacation too. And I wondered how the countries even existed. But I do digress again. But we'll get going on with some of the other stuff going on out here. And as always, we like to start off with a little bit of history.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
I have to tell you that I spent some time in Paris. And of course, I was there with a bunch of engineers. And I was actually there with a lead engineer one time. And of course, we ended up doing the sewer tours of France because, of course, that's where Les Miserables was at. But I found out how sewage works. That was my adventure, at least that time in France. I was staying about 3 blocks from the Eiffel Tower. Very, very interesting. Unfortunately, not very romantic with a Cro-Magnon man that was my engineer there. But I do digress. In 1925, one of the earliest buying frenzies for an American IPO is reported as the Bank of Southwark goes public in Philadelphia. Investors hire muscular goons to sign their names to the subscription books that confer the right to buy shares, and noses were smashed, hats were jammed in, and the police court was at work and over the wounded for weeks, almost a month after, prosecuting cases of battery. This was quite the fight. And, of course, a little less fisticuffs these days in IPOs, but we always think everything is new, and it just really isn't. It's just history repeating over and over again. Somebody in the den had a comment about my sewage tour. No, I found out that they basically put a giant wooden ball that's about 10 feet in diameter down the sewer, and it kind of like scoots everything along until it pushes everything out. So all that stuff that kind of builds up on the bottom, they make this giant wooden ball thing, and they shove it in there and then put a bunch of water behind it and shove it through. I thought, wow, how interesting. After the bell, we got a new crop of potential stocks to get whack-a-mole. And I don't know what you can say about that. Arcadia Pharmaceuticals, Air Methods. Air Methods is a kind of interesting stock that is a canary in the coal mine kind of stock, like the paper products companies. They basically sell a lot of air and nitrogen and other things to manufacturing. So that one's kind of interesting to see just how well manufacturing and car production and other things are going on. But basically, if it's industrial and they need compressed air gases for welding and or refrigeration and all kinds of industrial uses, good stock to keep an eye on along with all the paper stocks. Allscripts Healthcare Solutions, Auto Bytel. That's going to be a very interesting one for me and get yet another read on how car sales are doing. I suspect that they are tailing off now. BioScript, Boingo Wireless, Brookdale Senior Living, Easy Corp, Mankind. That one's been a big favorite here lately, at least bandied about in the den. Monster Beverage Company. I suspect we're going to see some fireworks on that one. I don't know up or down. Nuance Communications, Outer Wall, been an interesting company. I would have been short this thing if it was a little higher. Maybe we'll show the chart. I wanted this thing to kind of rally up into the gap that it had. I didn't get lucky enough, so there's no good risk reward on it, but looked interesting. Post Holdings, Rocket Fuel. Of course, this thing is one of those IPOs that's been nothing but beaten like a red-headed stepchild, like a seal on an ice floe. This is one of the probably 50 or 60 horrible IPOs over the last year or so. St. Joe Company, of course, a land provider down here in Florida. And I know another favorite of the den in there is Data. It's Tableau Software, a data mining company. Look for fireworks in that one. Someone's going to either be very right or very wrong. Ubiquity Networks, my favorite hardware company when it comes to routers and routing equipment and the spread of everything in the internet as far as buying their products. The stock a little more up in the air. And Universal Display, which used to be PAN something or rather, OLED. Why they changed their name and their ticker? I hate stocks that do that. Anyway, we'll see a lot going on out there. Somebody in the den here had an interesting comment. I have a neighbor that went over to Fidelity, for Fidelity, to straighten out a company that they had bought in Paris. Couldn't get anything done. Every excuse not to work they took. Finally gave up, him and Fidelity. Boy, my adventures there were interesting, especially when you go from Paris and then you go to Germany. And you go to Germany, and it's like a whole other country, believe it or not. Those little devils were working night and day to make a better product. Good engineers with basically the same kind of idea that the Japanese had, which is, let's just make it 1% better every time we make it. Every time we redesign it, just make it 1% better, just a little bit better, just a little bit higher tolerances for what we're designing or milling or building. Their engineering culture is extremely strong. The force is strong with them in industrial applications. The NSA Dragnet over, I think it was last night after the bell, U.S. Appeals Court ruled that the NSA's dragnet on millions of Americans' phone calls is illegal. And we have, in fact, they did even thank Edward Snowden for bringing it out in the open. Americans first learned about the telephone metadata program that appellants are now challenging on June 5th, 2013, when the British newspaper The Guardian published a FISA order leaked from former government contractor Edward Snowden, the court notes. And the question is, if someone's doing something illegal, you know it's illegal, but it's illegal for you to say anything about it, what do you do? I've been kind of vacillating back and forth on what he was right or wrong. He was certainly right that it was illegal. And a lot of times these things take ways to go through the court system to find out. I mean, for years people said slaves were okay. I think eventually the court ruled that everybody was a man, and that probably wasn't true. But we always have people that are willing to try to stretch either the truth or the Constitution. And eventually, most of the time, cooler heads prevail. My guess is this is headed to the Supreme Court, where the exact same ruling will come out. There's been 100 years of decisions that basically say you cannot use a dragnet like tools. And I suspect we're finally going to get an end to this, and probably going to help a lot of the NASDAQ stocks in foreign countries. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And as we come back, it is interesting market out here. Take a quick look at here. 2090 on the S&P cash, up 10 points, 2.4 billion shares. Volume has gone very light since the start of the show, and we can continue. Anyway, Alibaba's got a new CEO that takes charge on the 10th, in 3 days. Jonathan Liu is out as the CEO. Daniel Zhang is in, and it looks like Mr. Ma, who's the worth 45 billion or 50 billion, whatever it is, over there in China, yanked Mr. Liu in the fourth quarter, it seems, to actually, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's not like he did a bad job. I always thought that the stock was horribly overpriced, but maybe it's a little bit of sacrificial lamb to appease the people, the gods in the trading world, and get them off his back for a little while. I don't think Daniel Zhang's going to do much difference out here. Alibaba, of course, up a bit today. Grab a quick chart on that. BABA. It just, like a lot of these stocks, just looks like, you know, you've got a huge amount of short interest in these things, and any kind of even medium respite sees a lot of short covering. You had almost a decent bottom out here. Volume was a little lighter. You had 39 million shares back at $80.03 on March 3rd. You got into $77.77 with 32 million shares. So it was lighter. You got a bounce out here. We got a lot of volume. It's kind of doing just like every other stock out here has, though, and that is it goes to the previous highs. It tries to get higher, and guess what? It pulls and reverses right back into the lower trading range, and I just don't see that many stocks. Speaking of stocks like that, I've been watching one for a while, and I probably should have pulled the trigger on this thing last night because they were trying to push this dog up. But this is another one that looks exactly like just about the entire market when you look at stocks at the top, and why I spend the last half of the show pretty much looking at stocks with previous highs with light volume and previous testing previous lows with light volume, and that is, what do these stocks do? Do they break out with higher volume? If they do break out with higher volume, do they just retreat right back into the trading range? And Mercado Libre, MELI, shows that we're seeing the third world in some kind of problem. We had tried to go above its previous highs of 3 million shares back on October 31st. On the 4th with 900,000 shares. After that, the next day you had 580,000. Yesterday you had 771,000 today. Not a lot of volume, but certainly pulling back into these trading ranges. And this looks like a lot of the stuff is severely range bound, even on what should have been talked about as decent news. Another stock out here that's very interesting, I'm watching. I did not play this one, mostly because it is gamed by some of the best. You never know when that guy is going to tweet, Mr. Musk, tweet some erroneous bovine excrement story that is dubious in nature and pop the stock. It's got way too many shorts, and basically when this thing gets boring and a lot of people don't pay attention to it, probably going to be one of the stocks that is being short is going to be the short of a pretty good career in somebody's cap. The reason why is these guys, if you go look at their at what they're actually putting out for numbers, these guys are burning cash. They are taking $100 bills and lighting cigarettes with it. They are spending cash out the wazoo. My guess is they're going to have to issue new shares, and that'll probably be within the next year. My guess is that we may see 2 or 3 days of this thing going sideways. If we could see another test of that top on very light volume, maybe there would be a good time to think about pulling the trigger. I need a little bit more of it on this. I need a few more people to give up on being short. But for a company that is trying to sell 50,000 cars, basically what the rest of the car industry makes before 10 a.m. on Monday, it is almost ludicrous to see the valuations in this company, especially when they're spending $6 billion for a new battery company and they've got all kinds of new flaky ideas. You know, a few people are going to buy into this stuff, but I'm not buying it. Not for a minute, not for a second. We'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're like me, you see the world's emerging nations as a very real opportunity, as these countries and their economies are developing right before our eyes. And you can rest assured that Everbank has spotted this opportunity too. In fact, they just recently unveiled the new 5-year market-safe Future Economy CD. This is a CD that could really deliver, but you only have until May 7th to take advantage. Consider the facts. If the Future Economy's currencies beat the US dollar over the CD term, you'll get all the upside. And should they lose, no worries. There's zero downside risk here, as you still get back 100% of your deposited principal. Intrigued yet? The May 7th funding deadline is quickly approaching. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN-CD for more information, including important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN-CD. Everbank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And, of course, earnings out last night from Keurig Green Mountain. Yep, the price was wrong. The earnings were wrong, and you had a big gap down. A little off the lows, but still a pretty decent haircut. Into the first gap that this thing had up, my guess is that we're probably moving back down into this huge gap. That actually a pretty good sign of strength. This thing's probably, that gap runs from about 81 to 89. Goes back to the 6th of February in 2014. And we're into this first little gap, and it had some pretty decent volume. That first gap was on May 13th of 2014 with 11.6 million shares. You got 7 million shares now. So we're probably going to find at least a little bit of support here. My guess is this thing's going to kind of continue moving down and back into that. I think that first gap is where, was it Coke? Somebody else. I think it was Coca-Cola decided to pair up with them. That hasn't really turned into much so far. And I suspect we're coming back into that range where Coke bought out or bought a piece of them. Was it 10% or 20%? I'd have to go back and look. But that's what that first gap was. And pretty large top out here. And my guess is if this could get back into 85 with very light volume, you have a nice trading range set up this long term if that would hold and give you a signal. Other stocks of interest out here, we had Rig out with the numbers last night. Not a whole lot of action in that. And of course, I have a feeling has more to do with the price of oil than it has to do with whatever they said last night. Down a little bit on earnings today. Volume actually fairly decent. Vandia, pharmaceuticals, a little pop up here. Nothing really to talk about. This thing's got some wicked good support at about $8. If it could pull back down there and see a volume shrink, that would be interesting. Whole Foods is another one out here that seems to would have been a little bit better off not playing The Price is Wrong, as this thing had a nice gap up with volume that goes back to the November 6, 2014 pop up with 27.4 million shares. Already have 24 million shares, so this thing is going to exceed that volume. It's going to fill that gap. They are talking about making something not whole paycheck, but kind of a half paycheck Whole Foods, i.e., I guess maybe half genetically modified foods. But I guess people are starting to get a little bit wary of paying super expensive prices for food that is of dubious nature. But not a lot of change. MCP, I know this thing has been trading kind of interestingly. Another one down today. Not a lot of volume out here. The big problem, I'd like to buy this stock at 50 cents as a non-expiring option. The one big problem is this thing's on the New York Stock Exchange, and they don't let stocks like this hang around without delisting. And, of course, it's probably not going to have the juice to go list on the NASDAQ. So is it going out of business? No. Is it getting probably to the pink sheets? The answer is yes. They're going to have to issue more stock. There's more stuff out here. But it is somewhat problematic out here. The chart actually looks good. The volume looks good. If I just knew that these people weren't going to get delisted, and especially since it's fairly clear on the New York Stock Exchange, I think it's a lot more ad hoc in the New York Stock or in the NASDAQ than in the NYSE. But if you're below $1, I think you got 6 months to get it back above $1. And this thing just looks like it's going to go sideways. If they need to recapitalize, could this get to a quarter or 34 cents, those previous lows out here? I think the answer is yes. And you had a nice little pop out here, but the volume never got to where, you would think that it would. Basically, you had a huge amount of people covering a long-term short on this back on the 16th of April. And that blew off the top. In fact, watching this stock had me get out of several stocks that I was out of because it really looked scary. To tell you the truth, they're starting to question the den is, can they be a takeover target? And the answer is, I think they need cash. It's not like the debt is that big a deal. They're in production now. They're actually starting to make some cash. They just ran out of time. And, it's they got the government behind them. They got a lot of good stuff. So the answer is yes, possibly. The question is, if you're going to buy them out, would you wait until they were delisted? And I think the answer is yes. And that's where the problem is. You almost need to buy this on the pink sheets for 20 cents and just look at it as a non-expiring option. If they get bought out, you get a check, but there won't be any kind of open market for this thing. And my guess is that when they get the delisting thing, we will see this thing at 20 cents. They just have not kept this thing over $1, and that is the basic requirement of the New York Stock Exchange. But yes, turning around too late, also an issue out here. What else do we have? India Rig, TMRC, ATVI. Of course, the game sector continues to be hot as a firecracker. And we've got some decent volume above the previous high on Activision Blizzard ATVI. 9.6 million shares on September 10th. We are through that by, 40 cents, 42 cents. It would need to stay above that level and hold that level. I would like to see a little bit more volume, But, you know, it's one of these things where we got 2.5 billion shares now. Just going into a Friday, the trend seems to be downtown. I don't like the way that most of the weaker indexes are turning. In fact, when we look at stocks like IWM or indexes like IWM today, you know, what should we have out here for volume? And the answer is probably 50 million shares. We've got probably 22 million shares. This looks like nothing more. We haven't even broken the downtrend on this thing. So, you know, maybe tomorrow you get a downtrend change. To me, the trend is still intact, which is down. We've broken through basically the uptrend level and back below the December 31st, 2014 high, you know, kind of right around that level. And you have a high volume low at 120.24 that probably needs to get tested before this thing gets off the floor. Could you do an ABC here? Yeah, you could, but things would have to drastically change, and I do not see them changing. I see that there are 100 different things that could set the market off and have it go on tilt. So those are some of the things out here. In play, I think we talked of several of them. Some of the ones I haven't on my list. MT basically missed 38 cents versus 41 cents estimated, so they didn't do too well. That's ArcelorMittal, MT, down a little tick, but those stocks are always hard to get going. What else do we have out here? BWC, nice pop up. BWC. And let's go a little bit farther back on this. The Babcock and Wilcox Company, back up to its high volume gap down. Of course, that's going to act as severe resistance levels. This is the May 13th, 2014 gap down. This thing came down with some wicked hard volume of almost 3.9 million shares. It's up at 1.3 million shares now. You know, you had a good test of a high volume low, which was the August 7th low of 2014 at $27.52. Got all the way down to January 16th on a quarter of the volume, and of course it popped back up. That would have been a good trade up to these levels. Here, though, you've got to ring the register and say it's time to cash out. Another stock on the brown list today is THC, down about 10% earlier. Looking a little bit better out here now. Trying to move it back up. Well, yeah, when they were down, is that right, 10%? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. No wonder. THC, THS. Too many marijuana stocks out here. That's a problem. Anyway, there we go. Treehouse Foods beat Q1 estimates by a penny, missed on revenues, guided Q2 way below consensus, and that's all you need to know. Saranaya. And, of course, since I'm in the mood today, and after the news about the Price is Right, I just got to play it again. Treehouse Foods down, blew through its previous lows out here, got to $70.11, blew through the basically the low of October 15th, which was $75.08, and it's kind of going to tuck right back up underneath there. Longer term, this thing has blown out that lows. It looks like you're back in that 62, 63 level before you get some decent support. There's kind of a semi-sign of strength, which is what this thing is going off of, that goes back to the February 13th, 2014, a day of decent movement and okay volume, 500,000 shares. But that whole consolidation range from that early February to late May, late April of 2014 is basically what this thing is bouncing off of right now. And kind of tough to see. Treehouse Foods. I wonder what they do. I'm going to have to check that out. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648, 877-927-6648. Question from email from a disembodied person because they never put their name down and they never tell me where they're emailing from. All I know is it's a big, long number at vtext.com. And it says, do you see the markets rallying till Friday before the shorting? I don't know what that is. I think we're probably going to come at, and I'm looking for a gap down. I don't know if it happens on Friday or it happens on Monday, but there are probably 20 different brush fires out there that any one of them with a little bit of wind could turn into a all-out nice, huge brush fire. So right now I would be standing back and not looking for it. I'm looking for a big gap down in the markets. Options say that we have basically a plus 40 to minus 40 window during this week, and that means that we could expire as low as 2040 and as high as 2020. And so a pretty nice range out there. But I suspect we're going to get a little bit of that tomorrow. I don't think it's the jobs numbers. I think it's the Greeks over the weekend. I think it's all kinds of the UK elections tonight. I think it's the huge down markets that we've seen and probably starting to run into margin issues in China. There's more than enough stuff out here to add a little fuel to the fire on the downside, much less. Email from the treehouse. Oh, okay. Maybe that's it. But that's it. I think my guess is we're gapping down, and I don't know if it's tomorrow or next week, but I think that there's a 50% chance of a large gap down between now and expiration a week from tomorrow. So I will be sitting on my shorts, and I guess I should sit on my shorts every day, but on my short positions. But anyway, Treehouse Foods, another one out here stinking up the place. What else do we have out here? Some more stuff. Atmel, Google, Microsoft. Let's take a look at Microsoft. I haven't. We talked a lot about them. I haven't looked at their chart today, so let's take a quick look on this thing. And to me, this thing's going back into this gap. Again, I think that they're stronger than most tech stocks over the next 6 months to a year, but not going to keep them from getting and being pulled back with the rest of the tech market out here. Chart actually doesn't look too bad. This thing gapped back up with some decent volume. Didn't have enough volume, and my guess is we're getting back in that 44.5 range probably over the next week or so. IBB has been noticeably non-volatile out here, and you got a nice 1, 2, 3 dojis out here. You had that one day with this thing a little bit of pullback. These dojis are telling you that we've got some big action coming our way in the IBB, and my guess is maybe you get a couple more of these, 2 or 3, and we're going to see the real direction of this IBB. And to me, I think we've got a pretty good case that we tested that candle of March 20th on half the volume. And I think that's all you needed. You have good volume on the way down on the 27th. We're going to go sideways out here and consolidate a little bit. And I think we're getting ready for our next move down in this thing, irregardless of earnings and all the big deals. We'll be back in a minute.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Do you know the 7 most critical factors that influence every decision you make, and how not knowing these will jeopardize the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve? I'm Steve Rhodes, morning host at TFNN.com, and for the last quarter of a century, I've studied and used the secrets of human growth, the same formulas used by leaders of nations, billionaires and millionaires, and the most successful athletes on the planet. Would you like to break through any obstacle that gets in between you and the success you deserve? Would you like to turn fear into strength? If you could find a way to achieve, be fulfilled, and live a life of meaning, wouldn't you want to know the answer? I'll teach you the factors that control your state of mind and the drivers that impact every thought, emotion, behavior, and action we take in my new webinar, The Psychology of Trading. Join me for this 2-part online event where I'll unveil the secrets to human pattern recognition, because they're not what you think. And soon, you'll have the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on The Psychology of Trading to begin your journey now.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we had somebody in the den point out housing, and I probably haven't looked at them since a lot of those Gartley patterns really paid off. Come on, there we go. Let's just see what these things are out here doing today. Yeah, up about 1.5%. Not a whole lot out here. You know, you basically got a lot of these things that have hit the previous lows, like Hovenian basically went up against its October 14th low with about half the volume, $3.06 back there on October 14th. And yesterday, 2.6 million shares compared to 6.7 million share low, and back into the trading range, but not a lot of juice, which is, I'm seeing a lot of these stocks do that kind of thing, either hit highs and go higher, and or hit lows with lighter volume and still gap down later, which is what we saw in some of those other stocks we showed earlier today. Let's see, LEN. I think KBH was the one that really had the big move. That was, I think it was KBH that had the Gartley in it that really looked big. A little bit of pop up here today, but no volume. Again, this is kind of the downtrend still intact. You need another day or something to get these things going. You really haven't tested a previous low out here. That $41.30 mark really looks like there's a couple lows out here that certainly could get tested in a bigger trading range from about $54 back down to 41. KBH, I think that was the one. KBH. And what do we have in that? Was this one the one that had the Gartley pattern? Yeah, this is the one that had the Gartley pattern that really is kind of pulled back to this gap. But I think I said on the show, this is exactly what you're looking for, and where my power law vector number is something I really look at. There just wasn't, I'm not shorting a $16 stock, and why I didn't get all over these things is I just don't do it. The chances of a buyout or, you know, seeing a 20% pop in these things is just too great not to do it. Pattern was good, so you wouldn't be long. But basically, the energy down from the X to the A point in the Gartley was basically half as much from the C point on March 11th back up to the D point, which is April 15th. And you basically got everything in the world that you wanted here, and this thing's going sideways. My guess is that this is going back to the January 22nd low of $11.76. And it may take a while to go back down there, especially some volatility with what we are going to be seeing, which is a lot of people stampeding and trying to get into houses at the last moment as interest rates are going up. Had a friend in the Midwest call me and tell me how many contracts he wrote in just the last few days because everybody's stampeding into the office saying, okay, I'm ready to buy a house now. I put it off long enough. I see interest rates are going up. Even if they're just going up a little bit, I want to get in on this train before the end of it. And, of course, since he's written those 4 contracts, he said, not a phone call. So a lot of people were sitting on the fence, probably going to see those numbers come in. You're probably going to see this housing number bounce for a month or 2 months. And then we're going to get back to a long, hot summer in the housing market. Don't think it's going to fall off a cliff. I just think that we've gotten probably the bump from what is expected at higher interest rates. Anyway, hang on for Tom O'Brien over most of TFNN.com. Always, as always, sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll catch you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.